When I was reading the book, The Almanac of Naval Ravikant specifically pointed out three things that can turn your life around. Like it can make you a billionaire, it can open those doors. Among those three things, the first thing that he pointed out was coding, the coding language. Yes, in today's world, coding is not just a leisure or a luxury, it is a necessity. It is just like English, Hindi, or Tamil language that we learn because it's important that we communicate. It's a language that we speak with the computer. As a part of this evolution, where we all need to embrace, the CAT Center has started what is called as Coding Quest, where throughout the entire month, we are going to bring in people, entrepreneurs, professionals who are in the IT segment and who have contributed over years in this particular domain. And we're going to get their experience so that we know or we all can learn from it. Today, as part of the first interview of the vodcast as that we are doing today, I'm joined by Mr. Shankar Makkapati. Mr. Shankar is a engineering graduate from the Bangalore Technological University, and he joined the CAD Center way back. As we speak to him today, he has over 30 years of experience and he has dabbled in different hats in different positions, but all in IT industry. And today we're going to get that 30 plus years of experience in a single conversation. So if you're here and you're listening, I promise you so many new perspectives, so much new things you can hear today on this podcast. So stay around, listen to this podcast, and enjoy these episodes because this is going to change your life, at least in terms of coding. Hi, Shankar. How are you doing?
Hi, B. How are you doing?
Amazing. Thank you so much today for joining us for this supremely important podcast that we're doing for the CAD Center. Very important. And you have carried that immense experience and coming from the mechanical engineering background and then moving to the IT portion of it. 3 decades of experience. That's like, wow. So I have few questions which are very basic and it's going to help student understand this domain very well. So the first question that I wanted to ask you, Shankar, is what made you choose information technology or IT from mechanical engineering? Because your background is a mechanical engineer.
Yeah, it's an interesting transition actually. I used to work in a manufacturing industry. Primarily, that was the cement industry where I used to work there. You see, get to see a lot of dust. But during my engineering days, one of my uncle has purchased a computer. Those days, it was called as a 286 computer, and it has to have an AC, everything. Nobody just like that walk into the room, no dust. Okay. Suddenly, I got into a factory where you get to see a lot of manufacturing area where a lot of dust, a lot of activity, people moving around, all that. Then, as part of that exercise, as part of that project, I have to travel to Chennai one day, and I happened to see CAT Center cover in one of my friend's room, where I realized that I would like to understand what CAD is. Then I
Hmm,
realized it's a new IT application that has come and developed for primarily for engineering graduates.
correct,
Then, because we are doing a lot of design manually, we thought with
correct,
the help of computer and programming, it can reduce the time, it can give the efficiencies, and it will be consistent, and it will give precise result. So I thought, okay, whatever I'm doing manually, I can use computers and move forward. That's
correct.
what actually thought that it is better to get into something in IT. That's when I started liking and quit the manufacturing job and joined the course at CAT Center, then got into IT straight away.
That's one of a journey. I think I saw that you were working with one a particular manufacturing unit of cement, and then you visit to the CAD center. And I'm sure when you started your journey, computers were just like kind of coming into the system. And today, I mean, with 3 decades, you would have seen there is
Yeah.
like total makeover of computers. That brings me to the next natural question. What are the challenges did you face while transitioning from the information for your first job from mechanical background, as in your case, to the IT? And how were you able to overcome that transition?
No, it was not easy, but it's not difficult too. Uh, the first and most important thing was in computers, we don't know what parts were there in the computers. We were not too
Correct.
sure how to operate. We
Right.
used to
Right.
have a different operating system at that point of time called DOS, disk operating
Right.
system, and
Right.
all
Right.
netware, etc. And computers are only 286 and 386 computers are
Hmm.
there. I mean, they're just coming, and we could
Correct.
only see one or two color monitors in the office.
Right.
So we have to understand what is mean by color monitor. We have to understand what kind of color TV. If you
Correct.
compare it with TVs, those olden days we used to have black and white TVs. Now I
Right.
get to see a color monitor. We get to see different processors. For engineering, what happens is those days in the computer, there is a primary processor and there is also a secondary processor, which is called as math coprocessor. Without
Hmm.
that coprocessor being in the system, our
Hmm.
CAD systems never work.
Oh,
So, yeah, so first is you have to get to know what is engineering domain, then get
correct.
into computers, how to use the computer, and
Hmm.
people also not sure how to use the mouse. Today, everybody knows how to use the mouse. If I ask
Absolutely.
somebody to lift the mouse, people will literally lift the mouse, or instead of moving the cursor to the top, actually they lift the mouse upwards. They think that it can up. It's a strange experience, and people also will not know how to connect the monitor, how to. I mean, none of us know literally. So those are the
Correct.
things which we have started using, and
Hmm.
now you get to see an integrated computer with one switch on, everything will be on and running, right?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So
Right. Right.
you have to come from. I mean, when we come from that dusty environment to computer
Hmm.
AC environment, you get to see a sea change in the entire life. But there is
Yes.
also a lot of pressure because you have to know how you have to operate, and you're trying to link with engineering design. Hence,
Right.
it's always uh, uh, what do I say? It actually gives a lot of pleasure in converting something that is being done manually into an
Hmm.
automated system. Uh,
Absolutely.
uh, there are a lot of work that we have to do for at that point of time.
Hmm.
But in today's world, it's not so. You just switch on, everything is available for you, right?
Right. Right.
Challenges are not those challenges are not there right now for anybody,
Correct.
actually speaking.
Right. Yes, those were the days where literally challenges were there, as you rightly said. I mean, there were hardly computers existing. I mean, right? I would say in from the 2000, early 2000, 2005, 8 onwards, people started to have personal computers at their home. And at the time when your journey started, definitely watching or having a computer itself was one of the things that we'll ever think of. And MS-DOS, I vividly remember when I was in fourth grade, a teacher used to teach us to go, and there was like packed air conditioning room and computer and MS-DOS and those floppy disk. So we have come a long way, and now things are definitely far more easier compared to those days. Now that brings me to the third question, Shankar. Can you share a critical project in your initial IT days when you started that you found particularly rewarding or memorable? It has that memory on you, and how were you able to handle that particular project?
Okay. See, if you look at programming those days, any program that is written, it is written for automation, first point, and it is
Correct.
expected to give precise result, second point.
Right.
Third
Right.
point, it is used to replace some of the manual activity.
Correct.
That means we have to bring in a lot of engineering design into the programming,
Right.
and we don't know what is engineering meaning for engineering in one area might be different from engineering in other area, primarily design. For a simple
Exactly.
case, design of a uh, car is different
Mm.
from designing a bridge or a
Correct.
metro rail. Okay, there are a lot of combinations and permutations, and a lot of design formulas have to bring into the system. In
Right.
one of our first project, where we have to speak to a client from UK, and I still remember design engineering team is in UK and development team is in India, Chennai, and uh, you have to gain the domain knowledge first point, then you
Correct.
have to convert the requirement of the design into a computer code,
Correct.
then deliver it back, then understand both together and deliver it. So
Correct.
even during those days, coming from learning a regional language and getting into engineering and talking in English is, and that too talking to a person who is born English born person. If I have to
Right.
communicate to him, we need to use the right words to
Right.
communicate.
Absolutely.
Every day we have to send about 10 mails to him saying that, I mean, those days mails are just started.
Hmm.
Mail system itself is just started. So we need to know how to write an email. We need to know
Right.
how to communicate the platform, what we
Right.
are doing. It's not that easy to take a screen capture just like that. There
Right.
are, a lot of sample codes that has to be shared to him so that they'll have it installed on their side.
Right.
It's quite challenging. One, understanding the domain knowledge. Two,
Hmm.
the way it has to be communicated. See, those days, it's only email communication or a fax to
Right.
somebody
Correct.
outside
Correct.
the world. Okay. Today you have a video call, you have
Yes.
a WhatsApp call, I mean, whatnot. You
Yes.
have a lot of collaboration tools that are available where you can share your screen, then and there get it clarified. But those
Absolutely.
days, it's completely different. But those
Absolutely.
challenges are not applicable in today's world. That's a more important thing that each one of us have to realize.
Yes, true, true, true. So now, though that I think that challenge would have been a heavy challenge. I mean, I can just imagine communicating to a British citizen, and we are coming with our own sense of insecurity. And then, as you rightly said, there is no way of communicating. Like today, we have calls, we can do Zoom, we can do Teams, Skype. You can communicate face to face, but that time it is very difficult. And email writing, again, we have our own insecurity whether I'm writing it correctly or not. Am I communicating to them correctly or not? Are they understanding it correctly or not? So these layers of I would say evolution would have helped you so much. I mean, those difficult, as you say rightly, today they are not. Today if you write, a grammarly can come and fix all your problem, but that time really a struggleful phase, because you're not very sure whether those words are correct, the sentence formations are correct, have I inserted the commas at the right place, because if I put it wrong it means something else totally. So I do understand, and definitely that experience would have helped a lot. And how was the success of that project, Shankar? Definitely would have, like, it would be so memorable once it came out
It,
with flying colors.
it is very memorable because it is successful in one of the country. Later, it got extended to two other countries, and later it got extended to rest of the world. I mean, the same project, even after so many years, even today, it is
Hmm.
available. And this particular project is still exists today for that particular client. That's
Oh,
amazing, actually. Yeah.
they still have
And
this project.
they still have this project, and there are
Amazing.
regular upgrades that have been happening over a period
Ah.
of time, and it is still used. That's fascinating, actually. That's very, I mean, I don't have any words to express, but that
Fulfilling. It must be so fulfilling that what you created at that time, it's still being used. I mean, what is more fulfilling in life than that? When you see, despite those technological advancements, things what you have created is still working and working fine with the updates. Amazing. Now, Shankar, one thing is for sure: if you'd have reached to that this level, definitely there will be support of mentors, right? Without mentors, I believe the process. It's we can go, but without mentors or guru, will get stuck somewhere. So, what was the role of mentors in your life while you were on this journey? And is there any special memory of your mentor, a particular specific incident where that mentorship literally changed your perspective towards your work or work life, rather?
yeah, definitely. I mean, each one of us has certain people who have been mentoring us throughout our career. At least in this particular case, we have our current chairman, who was a director
Mm.
at that point of time, executive director at that point of time, and who has been helping us, one, how to communicate, how to write good English, how to, I mean, see, most important thing in any of the successful projects is communication takes 80% of the time. And we have to ensure that what we communicate is right during the first attempt. And
Absolutely.
one single word will change the meaning of the entire project or as that particular
Yes.
statement, then
Absolutely.
it's gone. So uh, then the next point is, one is the communication. Second important part of it is the communication that is received to us. We have to understand and convert that into a business requirement or a functional requirement. That
Absolutely.
also plays a critical role. Even there, even our chairman today, he has been learning continuously. Even I have been learning continuously. Those
Nice.
fundamentals like breaking the work into small activities and ensuring that input from one system goes into another, output as another system.
Right.
Okay, these input output combinations and activities, putting controls in place at every
Mm.
location. These
Mm.
are basics that we have learned, and those
Mm.
basics are applicable even today for anything
Right.
that you, right.
Right.
And I mean, those mentoring days, which are we used to work even late evenings and ensure that because there is a time zone difference,
Ah,
uh,
yes.
uh, physically, or I mean, if you look at those days, offices are open only between 9 to 5. But because of our project, we used to have an extended hours, ensure that what we work is being delivered to the client, because we are 5.5 hours ahead of it. So
Correct.
if there are any questions, ensure that they reply back, or we give an option for them to uh, for them to reply within the stipulated time. And
Mm.
even our chairman is to support and help us, and he also extends his hours during those days. Okay, that way definitely my mentor and chairman helped us a lot as part of those days, and it is
Fantastic.
in continuous even now. That's interesting.
Fantastic. I mean, I could see the smile on your face. Literally, for a moment, all those memories would have been elicited in your mind. Certain particular memory, maybe having a cup of tea and having those extended hours. And specifically, I really love the part that you put in attention to communication. As you said, 80% of our time, although you are in software industry, but still it goes into communication, understanding, communicating, and also at the same time receiving that communication, breaking it down into pieces, and translating that into a business objective. I mean, that itself is a skill in itself, a huge skill. And then accommodating the time zone. Wow, 5.5 hours. Of course, UK is 5.5 hours behind. So if they say something, if they write an email, you should be available that time to receive. So there must be so much of bonding between you and your mentor, and it's still going on.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Now, since you spoke about the working over hours and more than required or demanding at that particular point of time, how did you balance the work and life? Today we hear more about work and life and how to balance it. And what would be your tips to the people? Because we hear IT industry is quite demanding in terms of timings, and certain times can go haywire. So what would be your tips on how an individual who is just starting their journey in the IT industry, how should they balance the work and life with your experience?
Okay. See, please understand, during the early days of our IT career, everything is new as a platform or as an industry, etc.
Mm.
Today, we have come into a matured level. There are cases where I was staying in the office for a data center because
Mm.
suddenly one of the server is down, and we have to find an alternate server, and we have to ensure that entire infrastructure is up and running. And I was there in literally in our data center for 48 hours within the office.
Oh,
Those are the days where you have to literally ensure that systems are up and running and ensure that everything is there. There were cyclones, there were, what do I say, lot of natural calamities. In spite of all that, we have to ensure that applications are up and running, internet is up and running, all those things. But if you
right,
look in today's world, everything is available on the cloud. I mean, there is no way
right,
where infrastructure is going down, and you have
right.
clustering available. Zones are available. If one server in Bombay is down, there is another server in Chennai that can go up. Automatically. But those days, there's physical data center. Let us say there is a floods in Chennai or a Bombay or any other city for
Mm.
that matter, or Bangalore, and there has to be some physical person being available monitoring all that. Today, everything is available on the cloud, and
Yes.
there are data centers which are available under the ocean, over the earth,
Right.
and the technologies have advanced so much, so you don't have to worry about infrastructure going down and anything like that. Then
Right.
second point is when it comes to applications, even
Hmm.
today there are a lot of tools that are available, DevOps tools that are available, which can come from development to deployment, where there can be an automated process. And there
Right.
are applications where there is L1, L2, L3 support teams are available, where if there is a requirement of some 24/7 people availability, there are planned activities that are happening now, because the industry itself has matured to the extent where you don't have to actually work over hours these days, because
Right.
there is a planned activity. If there is a problem with the application, there is a L1 team who will take care. Or
Right.
if it requires any escalation, it will go to next level automatically. There is a ticketing system that's available. There is a help desk team that they are available. There are certain processes which have been put into the place. There are some governing guidelines that has been put into the industry. A lot
Right.
of seniors over a period of last 30 years have actually made the system in such a way that it is mature to the enough where you don't have to put too many hours these days unless
Right.
your estimation goes wrong.
Absolutely, absolutely. I got your point. Right. The technology has enabled us to manage our work and life balance, as you rightly said. We are in the cloud age today, and servers also. We have got backup servers across, and if one goes down, the other picks up. Similarly, the team, as you said, L1, L2, L3. So that was not the way it was when you started your journey,
That's
wherein
right.
you had to be 48 hours in a server room. I mean, it's a story to tell in tell in itself, because server room is definitely not the best place on the planet to be anytime. Uh, and
Especially,
especially doing yeah, keeping this thing running. So wow, really, yeah. So these technologies are helping us to to manage the work life balance, and the individuals who are you know planning to get into the IT industry, they have to understand that there are these new technologies which are very user friendly and designed in a way that you can have a work life balance. You don't need to be
yes,
there.
yes, yes,
So,
absolutely
so
right.
as you told about one particular incident about the uncertainty in life, and similarly uncertainty everywhere. So, what is that in IT industry that challenges you the most? Like this part of the IT industry, Abhishek, I really like, and this is the challenge that I like to cater to. What is that challenge in IT industry that inspires you to be around?
Okay, let us assume that you are at home.
Correct.
If power goes down, what do you
Hmm.
feel?
Feels irritated,
Okay.
suffocated. In Chennai, it's very
Similarly, uh, as soon as power comes back, what will be your reaction?
relieved. Feels so good.
Uh, you'll also bless the people who worked hard to restore that,
Yes,
right?
absolutely, absolutely.
That is the feeling that I, as an IT person, has to have all the time. Reason
Right.
is, please note, there are certain jobs
Mm.
in the world today that it has to run continuously. Let us
Right.
say a telephone that is available to you, and it's a phone that you have been running using your GSM phone, and you're talking to somebody. Suddenly, if line gets disconnected, what do you feel? That if you make it available 24/7, how do you feel?
Amazing.
Uh, Similarly, these nowadays IT systems are so critical and they have to be available 24/7.
Right.
We ensure at the governance level that there is no single point of failure for anything. If something fails in the lineup side, wherever there are activities that has to be done, we define a system in such a way that there is no single point of failure.
Right.
If one fails, automatically second one take over automatically. So you feel very happy when you are build a system which is time critical. For example, today,
Mm.
so many transactions are happening for UPI across the country.
Correct.
uh, Instant payment service, unified payment interface that is developed by NCPI. That's a great example where so many transactions are being happening. Imagine
Correct.
the speed at which you do the fund transfer. Those are the kind of IT systems that are being built these days, and
Absolutely.
that from India, and that has become like a role product for the entire world. So all the other advanced countries also looking at our payment gateway systems these days. You know,
Right,
you
right.
feel very happy being part of India and being part of this particular journey of building the systems for scale in or scale out and ensure that they are available 24 by 7 without any failure. That actually makes us work some more, ensure that bring new more systems, enhance systems, make sure that customer feels very happy end of the day.
Got it. I got it. I got your point. I mean, seeing people smiling and seeing them happy and getting the things back to square is what makes you feel sense of fulfillment. Again, that yeah, that's done. As you gave me the example of electricity, when the power is out, we feel so frustrated. When the power is restored, we feel relieved. But at the end of the day, it is those people who are running across the streets, the lineman, the power people who restores that. So that sense of when they see us, they get the sense of fulfillment. Hey, because of us, these people are able to sleep well. So as you rightly said, that sense of fulfillment by restoring the service is what gives you the fulfillment of being in IT and able to solve the problems which generally we are unable to solve. As you rightly said, the UPI, one of the greatest example where around the globe people are trying to emulate the Indian model of payment gateway UPI. How we made it very simple. Also, we were so at the start itself we started implementing the e-payment so faster. Now you see in India we are using e-payment every hardly people are carrying hard cash, very less. So in this economy we're able to digitalize thanks to the IT. And also during the COVID time, the way we handle the COVID portal, I mean, that's phenomenal. Look at the population we have and how many people we need to cater to, yet we were able to do. Definitely IT is the backbone of our economy, and totally I could understand. The next question is, if let's imagine you go back to your childhood as when you were young, more than childhood, you're young. One particular piece of advice from after 3 decades of being in industry, you want to give to your younger self, what that advice would be?
It's a difficult question to answer. See, it is like this. History is history,
Right.
but any mistakes that are done earlier,
Hmm.
which in our project management language we call them as lessons learned from past.
Hmm.
Okay. Those are always have to be considered as an important aspect for any future life. Okay, lessons learned. Whether if I had to give you a couple of examples,
Hmm.
practically, let us say somebody says you have to have a bath in the morning and then go to the office, or you have to have why somebody has taught those basic fundamentals, right?
Correct.
It gives certain hygienist, it gives certain activities which we are supposed to follow. And similar to that, even in IT, there are a lot of lessons learned and they are available as part of the entire internet today. The data is available, the videos are available, the practices that are available, standards are being built, and governance models are available. So today, if I have to get into any industry for that matter, I have a lot of data that's available which will help me to read before I get into it.
Correct.
Okay. So whoever is getting into any new thing,
Hmm.
if I have to refresh once again, go back to the same area,
Hmm.
first and most important thing, I have to have a clarity of what is my passion.
Correct.
Is my passion is towards this particular topic, then dive deep into that area, understand what are the models that are available from internet,
Correct.
search for it, find out how you have to be better in that area, what others are doing right now in that particular area, what are the
Correct.
new enhancements that are happening in that area.
Nice.
You get, and in addition to that, you also get into upskilling then and there before even somebody asks, then get onto the job straight away.
Fantastic. You answered my next question. Actually, my next question was what what is that particular tip which you like to give to the new IT professionals who might want to, come to this segment? And I think you've already covered up saying that if you know what's going to happen and if you have that amount of data around on the YouTube or across the internet, please do that research by yourself. Make sure that this is it for you. Is that or anything else you like to add as in the tip for the new IT professionals?
See, when we talk about any profession these days, in any profession, uh, particularly in IT, the advancements are happening so quickly, even before we realize the next version comes, before we
Right.
realize new technology is coming. So
Right.
hence, anything that I get in, you have to understand that, okay, next 2 years or 3 years maximum, I will be available in this role.
Right.
Then I jump on.
Right.
So what I have to do is at regular intervals, ensure
Mm.
that whatever area that I'm getting into, first you do the upskilling, then you do the certification. When you
Correct.
do the certification and update your social networking profile saying I'm certified in so and so, it gives so much of pride for you as an individual, and others also see you as a knowledge center because, hey, I'm certified in this area. Then
Right.
people will look at me, okay, can you help me how I have to do this, then the technology is done at that point of time. The next technology comes in the next 3 years, or the role changes in my office.
Mm.
So I have to constantly upskill myself at regular intervals and
Mm.
allow also to do the certification so that that will give confidence to me as an individual or you as an individual. Then job opportunities are more for you, and
Yes.
accordingly your career also be very good.
Absolutely. Upskilling, certifications, learning new courses is must. In if you're planning to take up a particular domain, start doing it because it makes us feel good, and also it helps us to position ourselves as a better professional vis-a-vis the other prospects who might show up for the interview. Great. One question that's very pertinent, I think you rounded it up in a way for when you spoke about communication skills. You said in any project, 80% of the time it's about the communication skills. So the second last question for our interview today is, what are the top three essential soft skills that the fresher should possess in order to excel in the IT domain?
Um, First and most important thing is listening skills. Uh, you know, by the time I communicate half of it, somebody will say, "Okay, I understood. Let's move forward and do the development." No, listen completely,
Got it.
understand what it is, then
Got it.
reiterate what is your understanding. That's one more important aspect of life. Okay, you
Fantastic.
understood certain things, reiterate what your understanding is so that there is a clear clarity of communication. Then
Absolutely.
document it. Period. These are the three things that you have to do: listen, reiterate,
Mhm.
and document. Period. These are the three. If you just follow these three simple things, then you know what you have to do and what you're delivering. Life is easy.
Fantastic. LRD, listen, reiterate, and document. So there is 100% clarity. Both of us, the we as well as the other person, are on the same page, and there is no miscommunication. And that's one skill. LRD, whoever is listening to this podcast, please remember LRD, listening, reiterating, that means reframing what you understood, and then documenting it so that it's there forever. The final question of the podcast today, Shankar, is, could you recommend a book to the freshers that would be helpful for them in terms of the IT domain? Any particular book you have in your mind?
Okay. See, if you look at I as an IT professional or anybody of you as an IT professional, what happens is, why do we do any of these projects? This is primarily for a business cause,
Correct.
and we have to deliver what business needs.
Right.
And that would automate a lot of activities, right? When it comes to any IT project, there is everybody today's world, people call it as DevOps, okay? And there is a novel about it, and that novel is called as the Phoenix Project. It's a beautiful book. It's available in a paper format as well as in Kindle format. I recommend people to buy from Amazon, and it's a beautiful book the way it is written. I would recommend each one of you to read that book. I think that's the best book. I loved it, and I made a lot of my team members to read it as well. Okay, and after reading it, they understand, what it is, how they can relate to their work, what has been happening, or if I have not done this, how it will be. All that they'll be able to relate. I think this is one of the good book which one must read.
The Phoenix Project, right?
That's right.
Absolutely. Thank you. So, thank you so much, Shankar, for your time today and taking us across everything. For me, the takeaway from the host side is your experience, especially how you interacted with the UK client, with the time difference, the role of mentors in your life, and also currently. Thirdly, how communication is an important role. Although we say it's an IT industry, it's a software industry, we write codes, but still, communication plays 80% of the time. Fourthly, how technology has evolved and made us our life easy now in terms of maintaining the life and work balances vis-a-vis days back, years back, where somebody had tough time because there were only few servers. Also, at the
Mhm.
same time, how much important is listening, reiterating, and documenting in terms of the soft skills and how pertinent they are. And finally, the book, The Phoenix Project. So I think this recaps the whole conversation that we had as part of our first podcast. I really like to thank you for your time today and this experience. And I'm sure the listeners and the viewers who are going to watch this are going to have so much of takeaway because what we were able to compress today is the experience of 3 decades. And it means a lot. And for somebody who is listening to this, they're literally time compressing whatever you have seen through sense or experienced through these 3 decades. So thank you so much, and we will meet again in future for any of the more podcasts on different interviews or in different section. Thank you so much, Shankar.
Thank you, Abhi. Thank you, all the listeners.